Welcome back to part 3 of our Microsoft Identity Management NUGGET course, MIM 2016. A quick recap to outline what we have covered. We started with the evolution of this tool, then architecture, then the supported platform. Then we moved toward the components in part 2. We spoke about the sync engine, service and portal. Then for today, we will cover the CM, Certificate Manager, BHOLD, then the hybrid with PAM, and then we summary this NUGGET course. Again, objective was to understand Microsoft Identity Manager components at a high level, understand how MIM components interact in different solutions, and then this is the quick recap for the architecture. We can see the components. Today will be the one in the middle, sort of middleware, and that will be BHOLD, Portal, and MIM Certificate Management. We're going to cover these two components. Let's jump to the MIM Certificate Management, where we stopped last time. With relation to MIM Certificate Management, this is evolved from the FIM CM. MIM Certificate Management provides certificate and smart card management capabilities. Also, it's a single admin point for digital certificate and smart card, support for centralized, decentralized, and self-service scenarios. It is capable of, configure the policy-based workflow for common set policies, being able to renew, update, recover, revoke, retire certificate, and you can audit and report against all these activities, plus using virtual smart card management. Also, they've improved in Microsoft. There's a new CM REST API, which can be utilized not only for modern app, but also for developing your own customized portal, which means you can have the Java-based or .NET-based portal. It's quite popular if you are about, like nowadays, if you want to move away from security-wise, like a hardware security module, and you want to centralize all these key certificates, then that tool will be equivalent. It does sit, if you can see on that diagram, on your internal CA, so there's a dependency. It does interact with, the Microsoft Certificate Authority to be able to deploy the templates and control all these life cycle for certificate management, and it does interact with, like you can see, IE, smart card, and so on. Next is the BHOLD. BHOLD is the role-based access control module for MIM. Okay, so it's role-based. It's a separate portal and surface and separate database. So far we spoke about two databases. Yes, one for the FIM surface, one for the synchronization surface. This is number 3. Now, to enable the organization to define user roles and to control access to sensitive data application in a way that appropriate to those roles. You uses organization units, OUs, and roles to determine which permission a user should have. Module generator helps customers to load roles into BHOLD. This is one of the components which help you to load the modules. It could be very complex to deploy because most orgs will not have well-defined roles and permission. Therefore, you need the help from somebody with knowledge around it. Otherwise, you can start to replicate what you have on-premise if you go role-based and see if that works for us or for you, and you can drive it from there. It doesn't mean you have to deploy full flavor to start with. However, you can start with basic scenarios and then evolve based on your requirement. Then the BHOLD allows for the following functions. Separate of duties, attribute-based authorization, flexible attribute types, and context adaptable permission, plus the credentiality and controlling the credentials and who is doing what. So it is quite useful, the BHOLD. And you've noticed we have not spoken about the MIM-WOL, because MIM-WOL in charge of the policies, more complex scenarios around creating sets, workflows, and does work really well with the BHOLD. However, the BHOLD main objective is around role-based if you choose to utilize it. Next is the PAM, Privileged Access Management. Privileged Access Management is quite popular nowadays. It's a solution that helps orgs to restrict access based on an existing AD environment Privileged access management accomplishes two goals. They establish control over compromised AD environment by maintaining separate based Bayesian environment, isolate user privilege account to reduce risk from being stolen or compromised, and using film service database. Designed to reside in the Bastion forest, end user interaction via PowerShell or at REST API. It does use MIM service database for roles, permission, configuration, and users. Work with the latest Windows 2016 server and AD feature PAM. And as I mentioned, it's quite popular nowadays. However, the PAM, because we need a SQL, we need a SharePoint, and we need a license for MIM. So you need to have the license to be able to utilize it. Go back to the next part, is the interaction of these components. So far we spoke about PAM, BHOLD, certificate management, and then earlier part 2 we spoke about the portal and the sync engine and the reporting side. Overall picture of Microsoft MIM 2016, you can see where these components sync and sit, how they interact with the MIM surface and with the metaverse, synchronization surface with SQL, how BHOLD sit, and you can see all these info, all these sources will feed the information to the MIM surface, getting merged, amalgamated, and then fed to different systems. And same thing applies to the certificate management. So overall, if you need an identity tool, then you need to utilize most of these tools to be able to get a proper tool. Let's do an overview what we have done so far, and then we recap it. Overview about what we spoke about in part 1 and 2. Microsoft Identity Manager is the integration of several technology solutions. It could be Microsoft, it could be non-Microsoft via the MAs, or we spoke about earlier, it could be pushing information via LDAP or via Fire. Then we spoke about MIM deployment, can be easy, it could be difficult, and we spoke about the different way of achieving it. Then we spoke about the two main components for MIM scenarios, which is the sync engine and service portal. And then the other improvement Microsoft added around the PAM, which is a new feature, and that include just-in-time, which is time-based permission access based on Kerberos, or just enough access via PowerShell. Then out of the box, we said PAM offer PowerShell and REST API management. For the same thing apply for the MIM service database, which will be utilized for the roles and groups and the role-based accounts. This is the resource for you if you want to read and making yourself familiar with the overview and documentation from Microsoft. And I think that's all. Let me just recap part 3 and the whole 3 parts. So we started with quick introduction about what is MIM, how this tool evolved from 1997 all the way down to 2016, and from very basic tool to a proper identity management tool, and then what they have improved Microsoft toward this tool. Then we move toward the architecture. We've spoken about the components, how they all link together. Then we started with the components. We spoke about the sync. We said this is the engine where you can sync object, you control the object, support different method of connecting the source to the target. And could be, we said, if there's no management agent, out of the box, you go 16, plus you can customize it if you choose to. But if you cannot do it, then you have the option of creating, exporting text or CSV into basically, a temp area and then pull it. So let me just take you back here to recap. We said these are the connectors management agents, which can be used different sources, either call-based, web services, or LDAPs. These are most common options, but in case if you come across options where you cannot utilize these options, you can use a temp directory where you can export the info from the source like application and dump it into this area where we can create a management agent or through a script to pull this information and send it back or send it toward the FilmSync database. Then we move toward the portal. We say the portal is quite important for password reset, enrolling, PAM, and controlling certificate, and later on, and permission and store sync rules. Then we say the report out of the box. You get group membership, set membership, group history, set history, users. If you want more than these, then you're supposed to run some of the PowerShell switches or integrate it with different systems to be able to grab these reports. Then we move toward the CM, certificate management. We said this is really crucial if you want to centralize the management of certificate, lifecycle, keys for renewal, revocation, revoking certificate, retirement, uploading, manage it, and smart card, and maybe later on the bring your own device, choose your own device, access without AD dependency. Then we move toward BHOLD. We said this is the tool or the component for role-based access. It's similar to what you do on premise if you have role-based. However, it will help you around defining functions, separate duty, attribute, flexible, and it's OU based. Then we move on toward the last part, which is the PAM, which is privileged access management. It does work with the AD 2016, depending on Bastion and SharePoint, and it does work with the just-in-time and just-enough access, which means time-based permission with the Bastion Forest. And it's quite useful, which means you protect against attack, stolen credentials, and man the middle, and so on. And then we move toward the last part. We said everything together, how that works, how that interacts, and you can see the overall picture about the interaction between all the MIM components with the three databases. We said one for the FIM sync engine, we said one for the FIM services, and the third one which for the BHOLD, its own components and database. And then we finalize it with a summary about this tool, and the last part is the out-of-the-box PAM offer by PowerShell and REST APIs. Then a couple of links to where you can see, read, improve, surface, and your knowledge about MIM if you choose to. And that's all what I had for you for this quick nugget course, which will help you to understand how MIM works and how MIM components interact. Hopefully you have learned something useful, and I shall see you in different IT L&D nugget course. Next will be around Azure and AWS. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye for now.